Hello, everybody. This is LifeAsDragon here, answering a few questions I got from somebody on my Roleplay blogging account. I know this is typically reserved for my YouTube vlogs, but for this occasion, since Tumblr Media Player apparently fails to function properly and Tumblr is down for me for some reason, I am posting the video here today. Okay, my questions that I got to answer for today are to explain in depth what love is to my muses and to explain in depth what they're afraid of. Okay, for the first one, I'm going to go and do all of my muses. For the second one, I'm only going to do Dragon. So I guess might as well start with Dragon as he is my main muse. Dragon views love as a very close bond where you feel safe and content. No one can really mess that up. There's no way for someone to come in and break it apart or for lust to be more powerful than that emotion. Love is just a relaxing, nice feeling for him that he would never give up for anything, and he would always put those he loves before himself. He would ideally, in a partner, seek out somebody who would listen to him and be there for him and not want to change anything about him. Though he would be willing to change in slight ways for people if he had to. Dragon is typically very gentle, very peaceful, so he just wants somebody like him who loves him in the sense of love being a very calm emotion. Now, next on my list would be Jackson. Jackson is much like me. I created Jackson, I think, fourth out of all of my original characters. I have over 100, technically, though I only have a handful on my blogs. Jackson is very insecure, very sensitive about everything that there is around him. Jackson views love as a much more strong and intense feeling. It's also something he wouldn't give up, but where he feels so inadequate, he often feels as though no one could love him. So he doesn't really truly grasp what love actually is. I hope I make sense. I'm horrible at answering this stuff. Jim would follow after, as he is a second personality of Jackson's that was developed through abuse and trauma and through a complicated series of scientific and spiritual things. I really don't know how to describe it. I wrote this years ago. Jim is now his own person in his own body with freedom to go out and do as he wishes. Jim doesn't actually love in the sense that my other muses do. Jim is narcissistic, sadistic, just a general asshole. I think he'd be labeled as having both narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. Love is more lust to him. He will only feel love, he'll pretend that he actually loves somebody to get something from somebody, whether that is a night of sex, their flesh, a possession, whatever it is, he'll pretend to care and he'll pretend to love. But what he feels as love is technically lust or love of self and preserving what he wants while feeling absolutely nothing for anybody else. The only way that changes for him and he can feel actual love is that he would have to be dominated and shown that he is not as strong and powerful and above everyone as he thinks he is. Only then, once he's been knocked down, would his brain be able to change his perception to actually feel something for somebody else, to understand what someone else feels to the point where what he feels could be called love. Next on the list, I believe, is Light. Light is a later muse of mine. He is much harder for me to write, as he is one of the least like my personality. Light is happy-go-lucky, loves everyone, loves his life. Years of trauma made him actually enjoy life rather than hate it and be dark and closed out like a good portion of my muses. Light sees love as more what you would picture in a romantic novel or a chick flick or whatever. A very happy emotion, always being together and its intense feelings for one another, but at the same exact time, he is out there all ready to enjoy the day, and he would want somebody who is like him in that regard. He couldn't feel loved by somebody who was much more pessimistic and dark than he is. So for Light, love is a very happy and joyful emotion, and he would want his partner to also view love in such a way, and not as, I guess, any of my other muses would see it. I'd say he's closest in seeing it to how Dragon does, but for him it's more a energetic, excited emotion than a calm, relaxed feeling. So, going down through my list, sorry that I have to keep pausing like this, I don't intend to. I believe is my last muse, which would be Dark. Dark has a lot of issues as well. He is also extremely insecure. In Dark's canon, he has already been in a relationship. He was set up to be married. To him, he has this set expectation as to what love is for himself, which he pretty much feels no one else could ever meet, even though people actually could. He's just too scared to move forward. For him, love is pretty close to what it is for Dragon. It's a very calm thing, but he would also need someone in the sense that Jack would, that would always tell him that he is worthy and that they actually do care about him, they actually are there for him. He isn't as independent as Light or Dragon. He is very insecure. He tends to turn to pain and other such things in order to simply feel, just because he won't open up. So he would need somebody to break down his walls to actually allow him to entirely feel for them and feel love. So next is fear. Okay, I'm going to start with like a general fear, which is the same for every muse except Light, which would be fire. Fire is one of the weaknesses of all of my muses besides Light. Set them on fire and they're almost guaranteed to die. They cannot regenerate burned flesh. Cut off a limb or whatever, they're gonna heal. Try to bleed them out, they're not gonna die. Burn them, they will die. So he fears it for that reason. Though on occasion he will want to die, it is very rare He tends to be okay with his life and tries to avoid getting burned so that he doesn't die. His more intense fear is demons, and this is because of his past with my original character, El Coto. In the canon, this doesn't take place in every AU. All these alternative universes sometimes start in other situations. He was with her when he was 15. They were together for a couple years. Now, El Coto has a demon inside her. She's based off Naruto. So occasionally her demon will slip up and escape. And this whole story took place back when I was live action role playing with my cousin. This was before I had ever began to write. I think I was in 6th grade. I would now be a sophomore in college, if that gives you any idea as to how long it's been since then. My cousin's character also had a demon, and that demon escaped. And El Coto's demon and Rockstar's demon, that was his name, Rockstar, were battling one another, and Dragon was terrified this entire time, but he jumped in the way of Rockstar to save El Coto and got a claw through the heart, and it killed him. El Coto later revived him, but since he was killed by a demon initially, he is absolutely terrified of demons. He has nightmares of them. If he thinks he's meeting up with one, he will go into a panic attack and completely collapse. I have written with other demons before, but they must prove themselves to Dragon. They must prove that they're actually nice and they will not harm him because he is so scared. It takes a long time, but he can befriend demons. So do not be scared to write with me if your character either has a demon within them or is actually a demon. It is very likely he will eventually warm up to them. So that is the questions I have been asked for now. I would like to issue an apology for not responding to people as fast as a lot of you would probably like. I have been losing my muse a lot lately, so it makes it very hard for me to get replies out, but I do promise that I try. I have 33 in drafts right now, and 3 asks. I'm going to at least try to get to the asks before I sleep, but that is not a guarantee, as I have to be up in 3 hours to go out of town to get grain for my chickens. I'm not going to explain the chicken situation. I've already rambled too long. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you to who asked me these. I am not going to say your name in case you do not want it said on YouTube. But I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful night. Goodbye, everybody.